I don't know, and this is completely subjective.
It's arbitrary and subjective.
Hey guys, welcome to ACC TALK. My name is Jarrell.
I'm Dave.
Hey, I'm Zoe.
And we're talking about allergies just for a second. Dave gave himself a 5 out of 10 for allergies, and Zoe gave himself...
I gave myself a 10 because you gave him a 7, and
yes.
I was like...
And I upgraded Dave because he takes nasal spray. And so I will say, for me, I'm a 1 because sometimes I like when I'm running, there's so much pollen in the air that it'll get in my eye and I'll just kind of wipe it out. And that's the extent of my allergies. Like, it's irritating that something got in my eye. Not like that it was pollen.
That's not allergies.
But it got in my, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so that's a 1. So when you have to take something,
that's legit. So I don't have to take something every day.
Okay.
I just have to take something during the heavy seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Like it's. I mean, it was bad enough to bring my asthma back, you know. so that's maybe a 10. But
I will say, like, the biggest deal for me with allergies is that if I'm not careful, I won't be able to sleep because my nasal passages
7.
will close up. So.
Definite upgrade to 7. I don't know. Maybe like a 3 or 4 is like it doesn't bother you. So maybe 5 is accurate, but if you have to pay attention to it, I feel like you might be on
not a 6. I'm just not going up 7. I feel like 7 is more of the, like, you're taking a nose spray and a pill every day.
Yeah.
Like, I know people have to take pills every day.
What about you guys? Do you guys have to do anything for your allergies? That's not the official question of the day, but we do want to know how bad is the season for you guys right now.
They just experienced some feedback, 100%.
Okay. So with that, let's move on to the actual question of the day is what's new in your world? What's something new that's going on? Type it out in the comments. If we don't have like an intimate relationship with you, it could be something that's been going on for a long time, but maybe it's just something that we don't know about. And so just let us know in the comments what's something new going on with you. And so we're going to kick it to Zoe.
Oh, you switched it up on me. I was looking right at Dave. What's new?
It was a head fake.
It was a head fake. I guess a couple things. I'm just going to air it out. So I started training back.
He's going for it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do
it.
it. I was not going to, but I feel like this is the accountability I need. So I started training Loganitis back in like September, October time, just trying to get in a little bit better shape. And I've been talking about doing a bodybuilding competition show for a little bit. My dad competed, did a few shows.
I stalked your dad. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's done a few.
For sure. I've been talking about doing it for years. I never had the motivation, and I finally was like, you know what, if I really want to get in shape and get to where I want to get to, I have to put something in front of me. And so I was like, let's do it. We're going to go after it. And so the plan is to do one the end of the year. So I know probably looking at me right now, you're like, bro, you ain't going to do nothing. What are you doing? It's time. I got plenty of time. I got months.
You're
in the building phase.
So that's been going on. So that's been cool. And then my wife and I started a podcast as well. So just launched it yesterday.
Where can they find it, Zoe?
They can find it. It's called Ghost Peppers, Not Lemons, and you have to go listen to it to understand what we're talking about. But you can find it. I know it's on Spotify right now. We're using Anchor FM, so you can go check it out there. It's uploading to all the other ones, so as soon as it goes live to all the other ones, you'll be the first to know. So you can go to our Instagram. It's the same thing, Ghost Peppers, Not Lemons. We have a Facebook page. You click on the links there. It'll send you to a podcast. You can listen to the first couple. And we'll have episodes weekly, so it'll be cool.
That's awesome, man. Dave.
Well, it's not that cool. We're getting our pool redone this week.
Hey, that's new.
It is new and very expensive. So putting that government stimulus to work in my backyard. So
thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh man, yeah. So there's a few new things going on, but I think the thing that is the most sticking right now is decided to do a challenge called 75 Hard, and it is really hard.
Well,
I wonder where they got the name from.
Where they get the name from?
It's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb to say that, but it's really hard. So for 75 days, you have to follow 5 rules. Rule number 1, drink a gallon a day in no particular order. Exercise for 90 minutes. 45 minutes of that has to be outside. Read 10 pages. Follow any diet that you want to, and then take a progress picture every day so that you can like document it. And on the very first day, last Tuesday, I put my reading off until the end of the day. And so it's like 11:20, and I break out my Bible, and I'm like, I'm just going to read 10 pages of the Bible, but I have like the world's smallest Bible. And so the print is so small. So I'm reading, and then I'm looking at the clock, and I'm also trying to like not like skim through the Bible. Like I'm trying to like not for it to necessarily be an assignment, it's like time that I'm spending with God. But we were getting really close to like 11:55, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And so I did not hit it on Tuesday, and so that's when I realized, oh, we can't put stuff off. Like, gotta read in the morning, gotta exercise in the morning, all those different things. And so I've dropped 2 days, and so I'm actually on day 2, but I'm doing it with a group of people. And so
wait. You had to. You're only on day 2 now.
I'm on day 2.
You had to restart again.
I forgot a progress pick. Oh, that's another thing about Hard 75. If you make a single mistake, you start over.
Oh,
and
gosh.
So right now I'm doing it with a buddy out in California and with Simone. And so we got a little wager going on, just a small one, but it's hard. It's all about self-discipline. It's super hard.
Oh my gosh.
What about you guys? Is there anybody?
Man, I'd be mad. I just want to address that before you talk about it. Like, I don't know if I could like over. I'd be like, yeah, progress pick, yeah, good enough.
Can you imagine 70 days in and you forget and you're like, well,
Yes.
start over.
That's why I'm honestly like glad that it happened in the first week, because it's like, what's another week? But yes, if we're talking day 30 or 40, and there's a mistake, we might be quitting. We might be quitting. But honestly, for me, it's definitely been one of those things where it's not even about the diet. It's not even about the workouts, because that's like, they're hard, but it's not crazy. It's primarily about the self-discipline and the focus. Like, that's been huge for me, because that's highlighted other areas of my life where I could up the level of self-discipline. And so it's a really cool challenge. But unless you can focus some time on it, I wouldn't do it.
10 Bible pages a day is no joke. Bible
Seriously.
pages are dense. That is a lot. That is a lot of reading.
For sure. So I actually switched.
Oh.
I mean, I still read the Bible, but like I switched because, dude, that is hardcore. So I switched to actually one of the people that go to our church, Dee Dee, gave me a book called The Names of God. And so I've been reading through that, and that's been really cool. And the print is very large.
Nice.
That's also a small book.
It is a small book. So I'm like halfway through. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyways, with that being said, we just want to know from you guys. Are you guys doing anything new? Anything small, big? We would love to know about from you guys. But with that, we're going to kind of transition into this past series where we've been talking about reconciliation, and we've been talking about, obviously God's reconciliation to us, but then also our reconciliation to others. And so what I want to kick out to these guys on the couch, but also to you guys online, is can you tell me a time when reconciliation worked in your life? Maybe when it was hard, maybe when it felt like that person didn't forgive or didn't say sorry, but you chose to forgive anyway, and just what was that fruit of that reconciliation in your life? Who's going to take a stab?
I mean, Zoe went first last time.
So that means you should go
Zoe
first
gets
this
to
time.
go first this time. No, it's an order. We've established a precedent. Zoe goes first.
All right. No, I legit was thinking about this one. This is probably one of the harder ones for me because, like I feel like one of two things for me. I either am like, I grudge might be the word, and it might not be the word, but like it's hard for me to sometimes let things go. But then on the other hand, sometimes I could just totally not even care, and it just okay, I'm gone, and almost maybe bypass even reconciliation itself. And so this one's a little bit
Like
tough for me.
kind of like sweep it under the rug.
Yes, it's more
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever. It's not a big deal. Oh, okay, you said that. Cool. I don't care. And I guess, to a degree, it's okay to some degree with like, I'm not going to let every single thing affect me, but also at the same time can miss opportunities to kind of see some kind of restoration, happen because of that. And so, I don't have a specific, man, this was here. There's still stuff like I even know that there's still things that I probably need to either reconcile with someone or things that I've that someone has wronged me that I haven't kind of let those things go, and it still kind of affects me. And so this one is a tougher one for me to kind of wrestle through. So it's not a specific time, but it's just where I'm at. So
No, that's really good. I remember before talking with Rob about this particular series, at the end of last year, I felt like God very specifically put on my heart reconciliation, and that we are to have a ministry of reconciliation. And I literally thought to myself, like, God, that's such an interesting verse, that's such an interesting word for me. And so, like, I don't feel like I have any problems with people in my life right now. And then it's so crazy because then you start praying, like, through that, God, search my heart, reveal things, big and small. And as I literally was doing that, like, names just started popping up and situations kind of like you're saying that were just kind of left unresolved. Like, I'm not necessarily like bringing it up like in my head, like there was this one time you did this thing to me, but like it literally left unresolved, and maybe that either friendship or that whatever just kind of faded. And it was really kind of tough, like going through that process, because it was kind of like that onion just kind of peeling back the layers. What about you, Dave?
I would say reconciliation's been a very large part of my life, especially just because of how my childhood went. There was just a lot of stuff that happened that, and it's not necessarily that it's a mutual reconciliation, but it's a, man, I really got to work on forgiveness, because if I'm not careful, like I'll just hold it and I'll be bitter. And I think the problem with holding it and becoming bitter is that it makes it easy to take that thing and say, well, I'm this way because of that. Mm-hmm. And just become a victim and just kind of hold it out there like, this happened to me, so I'm just going to hold on to it. And that uses as an excuse to not be better in your life or be more like Christ or kind of work through that. And so that was very difficult, and definitely have some relationships from that time period in my life where I've had to work really hard on reconciliation, and I'm still in a relationship with those people. So, and it's really hard because there's one relationship where the other person just doesn't want to acknowledge that they did anything wrong. Mm. And so every time you try to have the conversation where you're like, hey, this is how I felt, this is what happened, they're like, man, you're wrong. And that's really tough. Like, that's a really tough thing to work through, but it's just that process of just saying, well, I'm gonna do the work. Like, I'm gonna do the work on my side. I'm gonna forgive, and just kind of still have to have boundaries set up. Still have to make sure that I'm not allowing abuse into my life. But definitely a hard process to walk through.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, there has been like one that just like is kind of burned into my mind because it just never sort of happens, like the movie sort of reconciliation, where it's like major problem at the beginning of the movie and then this big glorious reconciliation at the end and everybody lives happily ever after. But because it happened like that, it literally was like it's just always kind of like burned into my memory. I worked at a Christian camp in California for several years. And man, there it was like, if you ever work in ministry in general, but especially in camping ministry, it is like morning till night, just burning the fumes at all times. And so if you have like a really good culture about it, like it's like, hey, we're kind of all in this together. But if the culture ever goes south and it's like you do more than other people, or other people start talking about other people, it just gets like super toxic, because it's not like there's this work-life separation. It's like we're all killing ourselves, and then you have some people that are just like, yeah, but you could kill yourself a little bit better.
Right.
I probably would have changed those words. Knowing that this is a podcast going out on the internet, but not like, don't do that. So anyways, but with that being said, there was just a few coworkers that just would gossip, and they would just talk poorly, and in meetings would be super passive aggressive. And then there was times when I would like go to like management and just be like, hey, like we're in this together, but I feel like these people are attacking me. And so instead of that being like, hey, we should address that, it was like, we're going to write you up because you didn't go and talk to them. And it's like, well, I did go and talk with them, but nothing happened. So that's the reason why I'm now coming and talking to you, sort of deal. And so it just felt like barrier after barrier after barrier. And kind of like what you were saying, Dave, is once you like are like covered in mud, you start playing in it. It's like, all right, if we're going to be nasty, like everybody's going to be nasty, sort of deal. And that's the point that even I was getting to, of just being like, if you guys are going to be mean, if you're going to be short, sort of deal, then I'll give that same energy back to you. And so anyways, long story short, like after 3 or 4 years of this, we're like in a staff meeting and we're talking about reconciliation. And one of the guys stood up, and he is just like, almost like to the point of weeping. And he like, when you start off one of these conversations about reconciliation, it's kind of like, I need to reconcile with my dog because one time I stepped on his foot. Like when you're in a meeting full of like 30 directors, it's not like, anybody's saying anything real.
You're not going to be vulnerable.
Nobody's being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so this guy stands up and he's just kind of weeping, and he's like, he just says like, I'm just so sorry for the last 3 or 4 years of how I treated Jarrell. And it literally was like, one of the most powerful things that I've ever been a part of. And so it was just really, it was so cool. And so in that, it kind of gave everybody the opportunity to literally like remember that we're working for Jesus at the end of the day. Like what we care about is people hearing about his word, and it does matter how we treat each other. And so it was just really cool. And like say, I don't feel like that ever happens.
No, I mean, that's
you
like
hope
4
it
years.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 years going through this process.
Yeah.
Like that almost always ends with you guys go in different directions and never talking again.
They could have quit, or I could have quit before then. And when people leave organizations, it's not like people reach out and that sort of stuff and whatever. So anyways, like it was just like one of those God moments where it was just really incredible. And so, but yeah. So we would like to hear from you guys.
We have no comments.
I know.
We have people watching.
I can see your deal. One thing that I like to say to you guys online that are watching, we do this so that we can interact with you guys and we can encourage each other, and hopefully our stories can encourage you, whether it's like, man, we have this really awesome story, or we're still a work in progress. Hopefully we can encourage you guys. But you guys can also encourage each other by your stories and your testimonies. And that is something that honestly the devil hates. And it just gives glory to God. So if you've forgiven someone, if someone's forgiven you, we'd love to hear about it in the comments. Cool?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks
Awesome.
for hanging out with us. We'd love to see you guys in person or online this Sunday, 9:30 and 11. It's going to be a great weekend. We're kicking off a new series. You asked for it. We'll throw the link into the comments about where you can still ask questions. We're going to be gathering questions over the course of the month, and then the last weekend. So up until the last weekend, it's going to be a typical sermon where we take one question and answer it in a full message. But then the last week we're going to do a Q&A.
Very
with
cool.
a panel of people. So it's gonna be great.
Yeah. So if you guys have a question about faith, religion, let us know.
Yep.
We really want to answer it. Cool. Anything else coming up that people should know about? Discover 101 this Sunday?
It is this Sunday. We do require RSVPs now because we've had a couple of discovers just post-COVID where no one showed up, and so for us to have food for you, we need an RSVP.
So childcare provided and lunch, and it's just a way for you to sit down with some of the pastors, ask questions about ACC, learn about our history, and potentially become a member.
Get to know more about the church, get to know more about yourself. We have a spiritual gifts test and personality test that we give you to kind of help guide you to areas of service in the church we think would be good for the way that God created you, and then talk about all the good stuff. It's good.
Cool. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Well, hey guys, thank you guys.
So has nothing.
Bro, it's them allergies. Zaps my energy. Like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's like, hey boy, you need to go sleep.
Sue Lynn says hi before we end.
Hey.
Hi, Sue Lynn.
Hey, Sue. Did you guys know that was her nickname, Susu?
No.
What?
Susu.
I've never heard that.
She said it last night
Okay. Sue.
Now it's on the air.
at middle school. Susu. Everyone that is watching, call her Susu from this point forward. All right. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us for ACC Talk. We will see you guys next week.
Yep.
Well,